We want to see what the real
Omar
is like.
I have sunglasses on inside, by the way. Just so you know.
We can confirm.
To be fair, they're on his head, so it's not that bad.
The first question is... Hey everyone, my name is Suds.
And I'm Sabrina.
Welcome to Zero Calorie Marketing. So today's guest is Omar. He's the co-founder and CEO of Blue Drop Studio.
We've learned a lot of things about Omar, like how he gives away free Apple Watches.
His spirit animal is a monkey. Also, we find out how a good mentor has helped him with his business.
Let's begin.
This podcast is for marketers, by marketers, for marketers. Okay. And we're just here to really learn from each other, learn about how you got to where you got to, as well as best practices. And we're just essentially,
tricks, advice.
And essentially, we want to keep it as a conversation because, people listening would want to hear about your journey, not just like how perfect you were. It's more like your struggles, or how you got to where you got to, what decisions that you made were worked out well, or maybe they didn't work out so well. Just really like a human story from our side, really.
All right, should we get into our
why don't
questions?
you tell us who you are and from what you do, just an introduction of yourself.
Sure, absolutely. Well, firstly, I've never been on a podcast before, so thank you very much for having...
We have never done it before.
We're
learning as we go.
That's pretty fitting. So I suppose it starts university. I did sound engineering as a degree, and then through that I was working in some nightclubs in London, on the side learning how to do websites. That was becoming, or had been, popular at the time, looked like something interesting. Alongside that, I met my partner, Anna Rawinska, and she was an artist, very much into graphics design at the time. So we decided to, having been together for a while, start an agency. I suppose at the time you could call it a web design / graphic design agency, a creative agency in its infancy stages. Over time, she became very good at branding, and I think that I've become decent at marketing, and that's allowed us to pursue clients over the past few years, and really make some moves. I think it's been an amazing journey so far.
What's it like to work with your partner on a day-to-day basis?
That's a big one. I'm going to tread carefully here. She'll probably listen to this later. No, it's amazing. I think this alignment of our goals in life has only amplified our relationship at home, and it's kind of good because, well, we can separate work from our personal time and personal space, but it's always, I don't know, because we can bring work home, it allows us to think about it and find out or explore a lot more avenues than we could if it was just a 9 to 5 and we were in 2 different offices.
That's really interesting.
How do you complement each other's skill sets at work? And how do you, or do you, because if you really know someone, you can get really angry with them.
I suppose so.
Does that happen? You get into blazing rows and you're
Yes, we have bumped heads a few times on, having a difference of opinion and maybe some important decisions that we should make. But in the end, we always, I think we make the right decisions. I think it's our skill sets, they come together and complement each other really well. She's brilliant at creative and making the visual come to life. Yeah. Be that imagery, identity systems, even videos. We've had some stuff go up on TV. We've been involved with, and tons of stuff across social. The impression count is through the roof, which is really satisfying to see. Complemented with, I guess, where I come in, which is like the digital buying strategy. So, how are we then going to take this product that's expressed like this and get it in front of the right people at the right time. Which platforms are we going to use? You know, when are we going to use them? How much are we going to spend? Where, etc. And that's what I really enjoy doing. And actually, even down to the literal, like sitting there, doing the buying. It's almost like, you know, seeing the results come in is like pornography at some point. It's just really exhilarating seeing, you know, these conversions happen in real time. It's amazing. Amazing feeling.
I mean, we'll get into like the kind of work that you do, but more about your company. Like, how did it come about? You know, like,
like how did you know that you had the right idea when you started it?
I'll be plainly honest here. We were both lying in bed thinking, okay, one of us does freelancing, the other one wants to pursue freelancing. Why don't we just create a brand which will give us a better, I guess, leverage when we're trying to pitch to bigger fish or bigger companies rather than small freelancing jobs. And that's why we decided to found the company. Since then, that idea has changed radically many times. But that was the original thought. We were just like, well, why don't we try it, you know? A ton of people, that was probably towards the start when we first had the idea, start of this like online boom of creative agencies and digital marketing agencies are springing up every other day. So I think it was at the beginning of that we were sort of just thinking, yeah, this could be cool.
could you talk us through how you've managed to win your first paying customer?
Sure. With us, we've been extremely fortunate. A lot of the work that we've had has been through word of mouth, which personally I find really surprising because we don't have a massive network, socially at least, of people in high places. It's all been through a friend of a friend who knows someone who works for someone, and then the word of mouth has just sorted us out at some point or other. That was how we got our first paying customer. Yeah.
Okay. So you, like from a business perspective, you're more the person who wins businesses or does like the client commercial side, and then your partner is more the creative side?
Yeah, I would say we both...
Or you got to do both at some point.
We both win business now, at least. We're both sort of in that seat at the front of the agency. She's had her team, and I've worked with a few freelancers as well. Her team will focus more on creative stuff and mine more on digital marketing. So we both sit at the front, and we will both go to a pitch together and try and win new business.
Okay.
So what type of clients do you work with? Right? Or is it broad? Do you have a niche market? Or?
Sure. We used to, in the first few years of us having an agency, it was very broad. We didn't have like a niche that we sell into. It took us a very long time to understand where it was that our skill set was best applied. Also, what we enjoyed doing, because that's like actually a big difference, especially with creative stuff. Digital marketing and media buying and stuff like that, you can kind of force yourself to just, it's numbers. But the creative stuff, that comes from a different place, I feel. And if you are passionate about that, the results are there, then amplified. For the first few years, we worked with architectural companies, hotels in Barbados, accounting companies. So we work with quite a wide variety of clients. But then what happened was, I guess this leads on to actually like a much bigger point, but we ended up working with a tech company, a tech startup in the gaming and gambling space. And that's where we really think that we found what we really enjoyed to do. And we're sort of right now in the midst of changing that. I know you guys spoke about recently talking about your vision. We recently had the whole workshop process where we sat down and went through what is it we want to do and how we want to reposition ourselves. And we really want to move into sort of like the green tech for good, eco-tech area.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's an amazing space to be in. I think that's where we want to move forward. We want to take this tech learning ground that we've been in and all of those skills that we've developed over the past couple of years and just apply it to maybe not the gaming and gambling industry.
Yeah, like when you're consulting yourself, in a way, it's the hardest thing to do, because we had to do our own video recently, and honestly, it was just like, we were used to doing videos on a day-to-day basis with loads and loads of clients, but we were like, okay, what do we want the video to say? And in the end, we got our outside director to just come in and do this for us. But we were a bad client because we didn't really communicate what we wanted. And, we would sort of, and, like we said to the director, look, we're going to probably end up having to backseat drive at some point. But if we're doing that, please tell us, because we don't want you to, we want this to be your vision. We trust you. But honestly, like when you're a company that does repositionings for other people, that probably was a very difficult journey for you to do, or, so, and also, like when you're a small business, like you said, sometimes it's the thing that pays the bills versus the things that you really want to do. Did you find that when you were doing your...
Massively. That's a real big struggle that I think we've faced over the past couple of years, is having something that's very financially stable versus actually what you set out to do in the first place.
Yeah.
And I've heard tons of people speak about it, and at points suffer from impostor syndrome and stuff like that over the years, and think, okay, this isn't real, but then when you really look back at it, you think actually this was real, and these issues that you've heard other people talk about, they actually start to creep in. And that is certainly one of them.
Like it's I was actually at a workshop after work yesterday, and it was about public speaking, and this guy who was sitting next to me, he was like, I feel like I have a lot to say about topic XYZ, which he was a fairly at an expert level, but he felt like he had like imposter syndrome, so he felt like he didn't have enough research, or he didn't have enough experience to go in front of a whole bunch of people and just say, here's what you need to do if you want to be successful in this this area. And the instructor was just like, look, maybe the first thing you should say is just say, look, I don't feel like I deserve to be in front of you in this stage. However, here is what my experience and expertise is about. And I thought that was really like inspiring, in terms of, we all have this kind of imposter syndrome in a way, isn't it?
Definitely. One of the things that helped me step past that was to actually start going to these events and start seeing other people speak. Quite quickly you'll realise what you do and what you don't know, and actually the level of what other people know as well, and how they're communicating. A ton of the stuff that I've been to has been extremely educational, but it is at the same time stuff that I do know. So you could always rack your brain and say, maybe I'm not like an
Different
expert
angles.
in this, maybe I'm not on that, but you could just put together a slideshow that has a couple of differentiators to what someone else has done. Go out and do it. You'll quickly find out how much of an expert you are, I think.
We all have one thing that we're experts at that we just don't know. Or
procrastination.
Oh my gosh, 100%. Yeah. So, but when dealing with your business and the work that you do, when adversity and doubt sort of creeps in, how do you deal with that? How do you sort of overcome that?
So this is a massive thing. I'm extremely fortunate because I have Anna, which is my partner, and we manage to bounce off each other in that respect. So anytime, one of us is having doubts, one of us is feeling really like hitting a roadblock just over and over again, we are there for each other. When it comes to being an individual, I'm not sure I can speak for that, if you know what I mean. I've not really been in this business situation where I'm struggling, I'm hitting roadblocks without someone directly to speak to. What I would suggest is maybe finding a mentor. That is probably the most solid thing you can do. Over the past couple of years, we've definitely been mentored by some of the people that we've even worked with in the same office, just at a higher level. That type of relationship is priceless, and especially if it can help you overcome those doubts and fears, that's just, you can't put a price on that, because it will elevate you 10 times faster, at least, than, otherwise.
How did you, who was your first mentor and how did you go about like having that relationship with them?
Yeah, interesting. I think when we first got into doing our agency, a lot of the work, because we weren't niched, we had a lot of different things that people were requesting. At the time, in hindsight, I would never do this now, but at the time we were like, yeah, we can do that, or yes, we can do that. And then like trying to find, you know, maybe like some contractors that we could bring in or something like that. But we managed to actually, on top of handling those really random requests, build very good relationships with the clients that we had. I think it's quite unique, but we actually developed really good relationships with some of our clients, and they became, through that, my mentors in some respect. And that has always, you know, been the first place that I've experienced this mentorship, I guess.
What tips would you give to someone who's trying to build a better relationship with their clients?
That's a tough one. Definitely don't do everything and anything that they ask for. I think the one reason that I would give for that is not only do you end up overworking yourself and burning out over time because, you know, you're stressing out at, maybe I can't do this perfectly, I should hire someone, and then you've got to go through the whole hiring process, they might let you down, etc., etc. But I think the main reason is that, or that I would say, is because if you say yes to something you're not an expert in, that can hurt your integrity further down the line. And that's not a good position to be in. I don't think, especially now when there's so much competition for absolutely everything. So, you know, if you drop down on one peg, someone else will come in into that spot straight away. I think that's my opinion.
So just through doing a bit of LinkedIn stalking, I saw you've written that you're a bit of a growth hacker.
Yes.
So how did you get into that, and can you tell us a bit more about that?
Sure. I guess that's such a taboo subject across marketing, or has been over the past few years. It's actually quite an old mindset now. I think it's sort of something almost of the past, even though there's a ton of tech companies now that are starting up and every single one of them wants to have a growth hacker. The way I got into it was through saying yes to 101 different requests and learning a lot of things very, very fast, and then having the opportunity to apply all of those skills at scale with a high demand, and that sort of pushed me into the deep end, I think. And I was able to basically test a lot of ideas very, very quickly alongside data and product teams and push them out and see if they worked. And you know, you test 10 times, 9 times out of 10, it's not as successful as you would have liked it to be, but that one time you find something you can scale. So that's sort of where I got into it, and I really enjoyed it, finding, you know, that small diamond in the rough where you're just like, yes, and you just go. And you see results, as I mentioned earlier.
What's been your best growth hack to date? And how did it come about?
Probably a fun one for me was doing a promotional giveaway. Okay. So basically, we were looking, the brief was to look at how promotions were organized. And what I'd done was I'd gone to a convention the week before and seen, it's crazy, it was like tons of people, they had to play a game. So they had 20 people and probably about 20 people playing the game and about 100 people queued up. That piqued my interest. I was like, okay, what's going on over here? As I walked over, they finished playing the game and 3 people got awarded a prize. The first place got given the brand new iPhone at the time. Wow. And the second and third place got new watches, Apple watches. So I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. And then they walked up to the queue, said, sorry guys, like none of you are going to get the chance to play. And everyone got a bit like, you know, annoyed with that because they saw how amazing it was. They were only up against 20 people. So that means 17 people were not going to win a prize, but that's pretty good odds. So I thought, okay, the general mindset with promotions is like, here's a giveaway. We're going to give away one prize and everyone can enter. I thought, well, that sucks. You're never going to win. If you see you're going to be against 100,000 people, you're 1 in 100,000. So what we did was we tweaked the giveaway criteria, and it was basically every 1 in 10 people would then win a prize as you entered. And the amount of interest generated by the fact that people understood that I'm only against 9 people, not this undefined, hidden, imaginary amount of other potential competitors for this prize, they loved that, and I think that was a good one.
Giveaways, okay, cool. From your side, like, how do you determine which growth hack to employ for different types of businesses? Because you've got a mixture of companies that you work with. How do you find, like sometimes something could be a bit too lowbrow, for example, if you're working with a big brand, or how do you determine what's the right thing for you, for the brand? Sorry.
Sure, you definitely got to start where the data lies. I think there's probably a certain amount that you need to follow on from what the brand is about, what the brand values are, how they want to get in front of their customers, because that will restrict you, or should restrict you towards doing some activities. But if you start with the data and see, where do I think there's the potential for growth? Maybe 9 out of the 10 columns you look at are going to be doing quite well. The 10th one is kind of low, and you think, well, this is something we can improve. So that's how I would go about identifying like the very first steps of coming up with an idea.
I was just really curious, what was the giveaway that you had come up with?
It was Apple Watches.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So 1 in 10, and I told the client, and they were like, oh, we got tons of people. I was like, yeah, we've got to give away about 20 Apple Watches now. They were like, what? But on paper, it worked out like really well. But yeah, that was really fun.
That's good. That's really great. So I wanted to ask, marketing, I think it's ever changing, but where do you see it in the next 10 years, or maybe even 5 years, as a whole, marketing, online marketing?
Yeah, I guess this is a super important question and relevant question at the moment. Everyone's trying to get ahead of the curve and guess the future. There's a ton of stuff I've seen, AR and VR being one of them. I'm not sure how, if we don't make advances in technology, that stuff's going to die out and lose its novelty pretty quickly, I think, especially in the marketing space. We did...
Well, let me sort of tweak the question. Where do you see your business in the next 5-10 years with marketing sort of evolving? Yeah,
that's something we're yet to figure out.
Okay.
At the moment, we definitely want to stick in the media buying space and creative content space. Moving forward, I feel like we missed the influencer bandwagon by quite a long way. I think that has still yet potential to grow insane amounts. Beyond that, there's a ton of stuff, like the AR stuff, AI stuff, which is coming in. That's going to be another big one when people, again, have the technology to implement that properly. But in terms of where we're going to be, we'll have to see as it comes. I think we're very much sticking with what works now, and as soon as something comes, we're going to just revolutionize and keep up with the trend, because that's that's going to be part of our vision.
Which is good.
Keeping
Ever
up with
changing.
the current.
And if you had to look at yourself in the beginning of your start of your company, or the beginning of, let's say, your sort of step into marketing, if you will, and say you could now give advice to yourself, what sort of 3 tips, or what sort of 3 words or 3 sort of nuggets of wisdom would you give to yourself?
This might be another 4-worder.
Go for it. No, it doesn't have to. It could be like three like phrases or.
Do it yourself.
Do it yourself.
What I would say. if you really want to get into digital marketing, it could take you a whole year to intern at a company, to then join as a junior, and then to actually be sitting in the right meetings where you're understanding exactly what's going on from an overhead strategy point of view. Or, you could just do it yourself. Sure. And by that, I don't mean, okay, start an agency and start finding clients when you've got no idea what you're doing with marketing, because you're just going to lose people money. But maybe save up like £1,000 over a few months and then start a small e-commerce store. The amount you could learn from just creating a small store and practicing small tactics in how you create a story behind your brand, how you then tell that story, the identity systems you create, all the way through to the tactics you use for media buying and how you retarget people. There's like a ton of stuff that you can learn from that very, very quickly, because once you're spending your own money, you'll find that you're gonna pick up on those things pretty quickly.
Focus the mind. What's been your biggest learning since you started Blue Drop?
This is funny to hear myself say this, but that people are the most important part of the company. And I think that's quite a cliche thing to say, but it is so true.
And how do you go about finding the right people to...
Haven't figured that part out. Still working on it.
So I was asking for my own knowledge, really.
Wow, so...
we
I
have
see you,
a co-host here who...
Wow.
I'm joking.
No. I think, you really have to get out there and meet people. One thing that was really good for us was going to the DNA New Blood exhibition. That was awesome. And you can go and speak to people. I think the key is actually sitting down and talking and finding out what those guys are about. Maybe go for a beer if they don't drink. Go to an exhibition and just talk with them. Find out who they are. If you have, that possibility, because some people, it's like someone rings you up on Friday and they say, we've got this massive project on Monday. Can you do it? And then you've got to find someone in like 24 hours. So if you're under that amount of pressure, then I'm not sure. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's like finding the right people is almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of, we've had some of our best people come through by, someone just applied in through the website.
Yeah.
Versus once you trust someone, then the people they tend to recommend to you tend to be good as, or if not, the kind of same level as them. So we've been very lucky with that. But you're right, sometimes it could just be, you just do it yourself, but then you meet someone who's amazing and then you keep working with them. So that's how we've been
awesome.
Attracting the right kind of people, really.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I do believe that if you are an amazing leader, which I'm not sure I'm quite at that level yet, you can inspire greatness in any of the people that work with you, But I've seen that in a couple of the people who have been our clients and have been managing their teams. It's a beautiful thing to see. It's almost an art form. But, if you're not like... it takes a certain individual to be able to, do that type of stuff, I think.
No, we've all been to clients where, like we had one client who I'm not going to name.
Go on, name them.
No. We went to their office and everyone was... This was a Wednesday, we went to film. This is a Wednesday or a Thursday, Traditionally, people are sort of sneaking the weekend, so everyone's sort of quite in a cheerful mood. But we went there and it was just like... Dead. Yeah, honestly, I feel
what the office?
The whole office was just so soulless that I was like, oh my god, I had no words
to work here.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm so lucky to be working on doing something else. And these guys were like professionals. It was a central London office, so that they were like pretty well-to-do company, but the whole office just had very little
negative vibes.
Yeah, and it was just being there, sort of, I felt kind of, I just needed to get out, but we got the job done, but it was just like, everyone was just so miserable.
Yeah.
Like, it was the rush hour traffic, but all the time. Like when you're on the tube, everyone's like this. And I was like, that
I have
Dating
a
is
really
kind of-
random question here. I don't know why it was. I think I must have done some really in-depth research. But did you ever work as an accountant?
As an accounts assistant.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
I was really curious. Were you into accounting? Okay.
Yeah, that was like an assistant role. I was helping
Oh.
out with some bookkeeping
Okay.
many years ago.
Many years ago. Okay.
A very thorough research.
Yeah, no, that was. I think that's on my LinkedIn still. I should probably remove that.
No, it's like your.
Might be damaging to my creative
No, it's,
repertoire.
I thought now he's also an account. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's alright. Shall we ask our last question?
Yeah.
So we've heard quite a lot and really inspirational, really interesting, and I think your company has got great things going for it and it's going great places. So our last question is, how can someone get in contact with you?
Through any of the social media channels or our email. We've got a hello@bluedropstudio.com. We get a lot of requests from our website through that. Yeah, pretty much just reach out. We're either myself or Anna. If it's more creative stuff, direct that to Anna. You can find her on social as well. But yeah.
Cool.
So do you want to give us a shout out about? Do you want to give a shout out to some of your social media links where people can find you, like Instagram or maybe Facebook, or is the email website the best place to get you at?
Sure. Yeah. On Instagram, my account is Omar K Juman. My middle name's Kayam, so it's.
Yeah. Where is your name from?
It's a Muslim name. A lot of my family are Muslim, and they're actually from the Caribbean as well. So Trinidad and Barbados, which is like an interesting thing, which is why I answered winter and not beaches in your rapid fire question.
I suppose that makes sense. That makes sense. Right. I suppose, but it's not. Is it humid there? It's not really humid. Caribbean.
It depends.
It depends.
It really depends. I don't think it's as humid as the Amazon rainforest.
I would never pick like London summer. That's disgusting. But
it's just like a concrete jungle out there.
That's awful. But
the central line.
I suppose nice tropical beach. No, okay, winter's fine though. I'm not hating on that.
No, it gets hot. Like if you go to some of the more greener areas, especially like typically Jamaica or something, you go into the forests there. It's like super humid if it's rained. Hurricane season, etc.
Yeah,
there's a lot going on there right now. It's quite unfortunate.
But yeah, we have Omar K Juman, which is my Instagram, and then Blue Drop Studio, which you'll find, and then Anna Rawinska, both her name and surname on Instagram. Cool. Find us there, start a chat. Happy to speak.
Cool. Any last words of wisdoms that we could take away from you?
Sure. I think the one thing I would like to tell anyone who's getting into marketing or even starting up their own company in any industry, is to just fucking do it.
Do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Because
Nike.
Yeah, right. Just get out there and do it, because you'll never know what's going to happen.
Right, so I'm quitting and I'm starting my own marketing company. No,
it's going to be called
thank
Zero Calorie Marketing.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Omar.
Yeah, it was great.
Likewise, thank you very much for having me down.
And we hope to hear more about your future successes, and we'll be keeping an eye on your profiles to see what you're up to.
Yeah, and
Sure thing.
shout us out for a collab anytime.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for us, like when you were talking about your journey, it was almost like the same kind of thing that I went through when I think we started pretty much around the same time.
Okay.
And beginning it was like taking on any kind of work that anyone would pay.
Yeah.
But then you sort of see why by being more specialist you get more the right kind of clients and the right kind of work. So I felt there was like a lot of analogies between what you were saying and what I was going through. But the kind of problems that we have are almost the same in terms of small businesses.
Gen Z would say #relatable.
#relatable, yeah.
Let's grab a beer and sure.
In terms of we'll definitely be in touch, because a lot of our clients look for complementary kind of like things like like the other day there was a company, they were like, we're just going through our branding, because the thing is they had they went with an agency, they quoted them a ridiculous amount, and they thought, okay, maybe we can trust them, but they turned out to, they just did such a bad job that they just fired them within the first sort of feedback. Whoa. And I was like, sometimes, I think
that's pretty bad.
The problem they had was they were overthinking everything, and they had a lot of levels of sign-offs, which meant that the company that they really wanted to work with, they may not necessarily have been able to have all the necessary checkboxes that they could take. So it didn't work out. But I think they found another agency. But sometimes, we love recommending people that we know to say, okay, talk to this person, because
likewise,
that kind of thing. So
sure.
We're here with Omar, and we are about to start our rapid fire questions. So on that note, we're going to start with our quick fire rapid introduction questions.
Let's go.
Right, okay, so beach or city break?
City break.
Oh, okay. Card or cash?
Card.
Summer or winter?
Winter.
Oh, interesting. Morning, noon or night?
Morning.
Okay, interesting. Pepsi or Coke?
Coke.
Okay. Favorite TV
Coca-Cola.
show? Yeah. Great, I love that specification.
good question.
Favorite TV show of all time?
Mind blowing. Vikings.
Okay, that's a good one. I've liked that. Yeah, okay. Who would you have play you in a film?
Wow.
That's a good one.
I'm going to go with Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay,
Wow.
That's a vibe. That's a vibe. I like that. Okay.
The character, the personality.
What is the strangest thing you've ever eaten?
Raw octopus.
Okay. Favorite place you've ever been to?
Canada.
Oh, okay. What was the last book you read?
The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss.
Oh, wow. Okay. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Honest, tries hard, and lazy.
Okay. We got there.
Yeah.
We got there. 4 words. That was okay. I'll give it. Okay.
Oh, you said 4?
No, I said 3, but you said try hard. It's okay. I'll give it to you. Don't worry.
Try it, yeah.
I'm not so good at maths.
It's all right. What is your biggest addiction?
Learning.
Oh, that's a really good
That's
one.
good.
What is the most interesting thing you own?
Well, tons of microphones, so it have to be one of those.
Okay, that's quite cool.
What's your favourite mic?
Probably, this is just like the SM57. You can stick it on anything and it will sound alright.
Great, that's good advice. Now we know that.
Technical, yeah.
Yeah. What is your most used app on your phone?
This Barclays banking app.
Oh, that's a
That's
vibe.
boring.
I like that, I'm not going to lie. What is your proudest achievement?
Founding a digital marketing agency and having it run for a good few years.
Cool, well done. What do you do outside of work?
Think of ideas of how I could be working.
Favorite cheese, if you have one?
Brie.
Okay. What inspires you?
Achieving success is extremely inspirational because then I want more of it, I think.
In one sentence, how would you sum up the internet?
Amazing.
Okay.
And dangerous.
Amazing and dangerous.
Yeah. What is your spirit animal?
Gonna have to say monkey because I was
Oh.
born in the year of the monkey and
Okay.
that's what.
That's really interesting. Okay, this is like our last question and it's my favorite question and I'm really interested to see what you have to say. Would you rather have no teeth or no fingernails?
No fingernails.
I just don't understand. Think about it.
I could live without the fingernails.
Could
and
you, though?
I enjoy food far too much, just saying.
I suppose so. Okay, all right.
We haven't had
Even
a
with
single...
dentures?
Nah.
All right, okay. That's your choice, that's all right.
Salt and vinegar crisps would be quite hard.
Oh, that would be brutal.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to stop.
Back scratches.
Oh.
The list goes on, but anyway.
And that's a wrap. Be sure to check out some of our other episodes.
Thanks for listening.